Here on the bridge. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox. Spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling. Moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Here on the bridge. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox. Spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling. Moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Here on the bridge. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line.
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. And on this powerful Friday, I bring you news. Now, I had this news for a couple of hours. Today has been a real trying day. I've been back and forth with some family stuff and working on that stuff, and that's the reason why I'm early today. So I'm going to be, I don't know. I'm waiting for a phone call, and I have to shoot back to the hospital after that. Well, it's not for me, but it's for very close personal family members. So again, I'll be in and out of this. I'm trying to figure out how Fight Night Fridays will go, because their hospital stay is until tomorrow. So everything is kind of up in the air today. So again, but we got news. Now, somebody had put inside my chat yesterday. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. If it's your first time finding this channel, if you love Xbox, well, then you found your new best friend. You found me, the King. So do me a favor. Accept my invitation. Become a sub. Hit that like, follow, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell, because I actually go live every day, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is a special occurrence based upon everything that is transpiring in video games and in my personal life. So, again, with those things, we're going to be brief, we're going to be to the point, and we're going to actually get to the bottom of a couple of things. Now, I told you guys on numerous occasions that if something was to transpire that I didn't like, then you can see me say to hell with a lot of stuff. Now, hold on. I'm doing everything at the same time, because listen, I went straight live. All right, so I just want y'all to know that I went straight live immediately. Attic wanted me to jump on his stream because J-Dub is over there. If J-Dub wants to jump into the Discord, I can actually have the Discord here. Big Cloud Gaming, $5 super chat. Salute, my brother. This is definitely the weirdest week that we have had in a while in gaming. Brother, you have no idea how wild and wacky this roller coaster is about to get. All right, and I'm gonna lay it down for you guys because again, a lot of people think stuff is cooked on some extent, and I'm going to explain things to you because you're going to have a lot of people out here. First of all, you're going to have a lot of people doom and glooming. You're going to have a lot of people expressing things like you got Kotaku talking about Phil is out after 25 years, and he was there for longer than that. He was there for 28 years. I'm not going to shortchange the guy 3 years. If a lot of you guys know, if you follow me on Xbox, if you know my gamer tag on Xbox is King David OTW. Now, if you actually look at the picture, it's kind of, how can you say it? It's like a ceremonious picture in a sense that when Phil became president of Xbox, or, the chief of Xbox, that's around the same time that we decided to do Iron Lord's podcast. And that's where the whole Iron Lord podcast thing kind of, went from, right? And that picture is Xbox and Iron Lords in that infancy era of what he was going to craft it out to be. Now, a lot of times when him and I talk, because this is going to be a reflection on this, and I'm actually going to DM him after this, and I'm going to DM Sarah as well with getting a little bit of clarification on some stuff that's probably going to be off the record. And no Coco. Coco, go with grandma. Go with grandma. With some stuff that's going to probably be off the record. And then figuring out how the conversation will go, like on the record. Would that be a Lords After Dark thing? Would that be an Iron Lords thing? What is your NDA thing looking at? Like, what are you looking at? Did they silence you for a year? Did they silence you for 6 months? The same way we still speak to Major Nelson, when Major Nelson was unceremoniously removed from Xbox, we still have a relationship with Major Nelson. I think Major Nelson is the best in the business, one of the classiest acts in the game. I have to reach out to a couple of other people. It's a strange day when somebody had left a message yesterday, and they said, yo, King, hopefully Xbox doesn't step on any rakes. Give us a week. You didn't get a week. You didn't get an hour. You didn't even get a full 24 hours. They didn't step on a rake. This is catastrophic in the sense that, remember when dudes are saying that I said that they destroyed themselves? And I was talking about, I had the conversation about Indiana Jones. Well, that was a farce conversation because we knew that Indiana Jones was coming out there. And listen, I already went over that before. But when I said they destroyed themselves, I'm like, you just didn't need to do that. You could have did that on another day. And then when I talked to some people, I got some clarification on why they did it, because based upon the user crowd that was there at Gamescom. It's predominantly PlayStation, and they were shilling to the PlayStation crowd. All right, cool, whatever. I still wouldn't have did it. I would have ran the company into the ground. I've told you that on numerous occasions. But okay, good. You answered my question. No, this is they destroyed themselves for real. And I'm going to tell you why that they did this for real. Anytime you see me do this is vitamin E oil. I don't put on like that chapstick after I found out that chapstick is grind up glass mixed in petroleum, and it's just a fine powder that actually Hold on. My brother Requeno hit me on. And I'm going to tell you dudes, remember when I told you I expected Phil to retire after this next console came out, right? Remember I told you that. Hold on, my thing is going to be kind of crazy loud. Let me mute that, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to send the live to my brother right now, because his questions is, I'm getting hit with a lot of questions from a lot of people, especially a couple of people in the industry that was probably working and just didn't realize that what transpired. Now, I was just talking with one of my partners yesterday, my partners with Razer yesterday, on some other stuff, and it was Xbox related. And the conversation that we were having where they were going. And you already know that Xbox and Razer is a heavily PC-centric peripheral company, and a lot of their stuff is really geared towards Xbox. But I do have some products coming in for PlayStation, and we were talking about the relationship between Xbox and Razer and the relationship between PlayStation and Razer. And he said things are starting to change, and we expounded on the change, right? Jovar Ingi, my man, member with Iron Lords like forever, that is like one of my brothers. He sends $3,000 in super cash. Now, if that was real 3,000, that's crazy, right? But not surprised about Spencer leaving, but Sarah going also is something that makes me fear for Xbox. Feel like we see an Excel decisions, closing, firing, less risk. Jovar, I'm going to explain to you a couple of things. And remember, if anybody sees my rapport that I have with Sarah Bond on, we have a different conversation when it goes to what's going on at Xbox. And when I give y'all a lot of assurances, it's not just from one source, it's from multiple sources based upon what they're working on and what's going on. Now, very early on, we explained to you guys that Xbox, when it was doing the 4 games, that was a top-down decision, right? And a lot of you guys said, well, why don't Phil retire? If Phil doesn't agree with it, why don't Phil just leave? Why don't Phil just say that, I'm not gonna do this? Why don't Phil hold the line, right? That's kind of what was said. Like, why then he's complicit. Then he's complicit with it. If he goes along with it, then he's complicit with it. Have you ever found like a sick animal in the street, or given something like a plant that wasn't really good, wasn't healthy? Have you ever had that? As a pet owner, a lot of times, like, I can give you, for instance, Bella or Coco. When I got Coco like she was probably like a month or two from her mom, removed from her mom. And she's a Frenchie, but she had an ill rash, right? And she's highly allergic. She's a highly allergic dog. So I had to craft a meal plan. What you doing over there? Bella, come here. That is not for you. Don't touch that again. I had to craft a meal plan around her to cut her allergies, right? So I understand about nursing something that was sick to health. I understand the care that goes into something and understanding how to bring it back to life. So in a sense, I kind of understood exactly where Phil was with Xbox. When they gave Phil Xbox after Donnie goes and does the unthinkable. Come down here. Sit down. Donnie goes and does the unthinkable. They gave him a wounded animal. They gave him a sick plant. They gave him something that they understood that was going to die. And when he received it, he had a plan. He sat home. He stayed up nights. He had a plan. I'm going to revive this thing. I'm going to fix this thing. I'm going to make this thing better than when I received it. And if I go out, I'm going to go out swinging. And he did that, right? He took a sick ass Xbox, because the Xbox One, the OG one, the first one, the big fat VCR crap. I don't know who decided that that DVR looking thing was something for public consumption. But he took that thing bundled with a Kinect because, again, some exec that doesn't play any damn games looked at that VCR device and said, this thing is going to win, and we're going to put a Kinect in it. We're going to take away the power from the console, and we're going to put that together. We're going to make that happen. And I don't want any moderators getting rid of anybody in this chat. I don't want any moderators, as long as they're being respectful and they're not cursing, I don't want any moderators getting rid of anybody in this chat. The same way I didn't want them getting rid of anybody in when PlayStation, anything goes wrong with PlayStation. What we do here is we keep the same exact energy. When we dance on them, they have the ability to spin the block and dance on us. So at no time do any of you moderators break them up. Now, if they cursing, put them on a little timeout, nothing crazy. But you allow them to sit here and you allow them to have their moment. Because when Jim left, I was acting the fool. When they demoted Herman Hulse and they parading that dead body around, I was acting the fool. When Shawn Layden was booted out, I was acting the fool. So at no point are we going to silence them when it's their moment. That this is your moment, because that's my guy. All right? Phil is my guy. I named him Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name. I did that. So we're not going to silence anybody here. If you want to be here, you can do whatever you want. You can say, fine. Say, King, I told you. But I told you. I told you. Me and him had a conversation at Summer Games Fest last year. This was, okay, so usually Sarah and Phil travel together, right? And not as far as like a couple or nothing like that. But usually they are in close proximity of one another when they're in any engagement environment. She has her group of people that she's with, and Phil usually has one or two people that he's with, his group of people that he's with. So we were staying at a hotel, and they are in the lobby. So now the hotel is a pretty good hotel. It's a really good hotel to stay at, because that's where every and anybody is. If you're somebody, you know exactly where that hotel is. You know exactly where that lobby is. And in that lobby, a lot of deals happen, a lot of partnerships, and a lot of conversations go on. It's also a well-known lobby. Don't bring your goddamn phone unless somebody told you to take your phone out and take a picture. So a lot of times, well, this particular time, I came into the lobby. We had came back from someplace, and I see Phil sitting there, and he's sitting there with someone else, and they're talking. And then I see Sarah over to the side. So I go up to Phil, and I was saying congratulations on something. I forgot if it was the presentation to the showcase. All right, Son of Vision 2 with the $5 super chat. Phil Spencer is a loss, but Sarah Bond wasn't it. Bring on Matt Booty era. Ponies were saying that all they needed to do was go, so they can't say nothing. Much love. I'm going to explain all that to you, and I don't think that thing is what you really think it is, because Matt ain't in the position that you think Matt is. Okay? So I go to Phil, and Phil is sitting, like I said, talking to somebody, and I'm like, "What's up?" And then he stands up, and I'm like, "Oh, no, you could continue having your conversation. Who you with?" Now, when I come in with an entourage of people. I come in with like at least 20 people, right? So, and everybody's on the periphery, so I got to be cognizant of who's around me and what is being said, right? Okay. So he pop up, and I'm like, nah, you don't got to get up. He's like, nah, what's up? And the conversation that we started to have was based around Black Myth Wukong and the stuff about that, but it was too many people there to have that conversation. So I was just like, yo, I'll DM you. We'll have the conversation after the fact, because remember, that's that Summer Game Fest that we found out that no, that was the year before. So I'm mixing the years. Last year was Sarah. Okay, anyway. That was the we found out the money hadn't came out. That's when the money hadn't came out. The rambling gentleman with the $5 super chat. Game Pass is about to be turned into Roblox. You're gonna pay to create your own games using AI. Just watch. Out of all people, Matt Booty is Phil over. What you're saying is not too far-fetched. Okay, so what you're saying is not too far-fetched, but I'm going to touch on that. But what you're saying is not too far-fetched. Scum, Phil is not a snake. I guess maybe you have a real different opinion based upon your emotions. I know the individual, you know the persona of the individual, right? I know the person, I know the man, I know what he's done for me personally and what he's done for Iron Lords and whatever. So again, I know the man, you know the persona of the man. So your perception is kind of skewed based upon your emotionality to whatever you feel is going on. Yeah, you're gonna say just 4 games, and remember, I'm explaining to you. So before you just talk out of turn, just kind of listen, because when you're just telling me how old you are, basically, and I hope you're not an adult like that. I hope you're not an adult, because if you're an adult like that, then it's a problem. But if you're a kid, I'm just gonna enlighten you. I'm gonna tell you something. All right, so we started talking about that, and we talked about some of the practices that was going on and some of the hurdles and stuff. And I was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna DM you. I'll hit you up. We'll kick it in a minute." All right, cool. The next time me and him had a conversation, because I didn't have a chance to DM him and talk, was in Tokyo Game Show. Tokyo Game Show. We had a big conversation. We talked for a minute there. So if anybody saw we have a video. Addict, for some weird reason, stopped recording the conversation that me and Phil was having. And it was based upon a lot of other stuff. And it was like, when we got back to the hotel in Tokyo Game Show, I had told, the rest of the Iron Lords, I was like, I think Phil is going to leave after the next console. I said, I don't think it's past 2026, because I remember at that time, I'm feeling that the next console is coming out in 2026. Not even their console. I'm talking about an OEM console. Remember, I told you, OEM stuff is ready to go. Right? It's ready to go. For some reason, they're not. And I guess that has to do with the AMD stuff. But spec-wise, they already know what specs for the next machine is there. So OEM is ready to go. Izzy for life, member for 10 months, Soldier S ranks. Why so sudden? This is worse than Jim Ryan. No, this is a fight. This is a fight. I salute you, Soldier. Member for 10 months, I salute you, Soldier. So I told him, I was like, I as soon as the console comes out, I think Phil, maybe a month or two, I'm finished. Right? I'm good. So this leads me over to Sarah. So now after I talk to Phil, I go over to Sarah, and me and Sarah's talking. And then remember, I came in there with like 20, 30 people behind me. So they're pretty much still around the periphery. So I gotta be cognizant in the conversations that we're having, because people talk. The corn has ears. So me and her talking, and she was like, yeah, right? Like, you don't know. She's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, y'all did that. And remember, that's the Gears of War thing. That's when they showed E-Day. And yeah. And I'm like, yeah, y'all did that. Y'all did that. That's what's up. And George Parcells, welcome to Soldier X Ring. I salute you, Soldier. Blessings. Oh, listen. The giveaway that I told you that we're gonna do celebrating the 10K. Y'all see these, right? It's a lot of pins and stuff that I have in here. Let me show you. Look at that. Look at that. Adaptive controller pin. It's crazy, right? Got a lot of pins. I got a lot of stuff in here. Y'all see the gears. Ori's in there. It's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna do some giveaways this weekend for 10K. So so a lot of time right now, if y'all think that I am despondent about what happened, it's not really. It's something. I got something personal going on, and I'm just, my mind and my heart is on that, because that affects me. This just affects video games. So me and her sitting there, we're laughing and we're kicking on some stuff, but she's like, yo, don't forget, because I got to go up to the room. I got to go get something. And I'm like, how long y'all going to be down here? So she was like, I don't know, probably like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, so I'm going to catch you later. So I said, because I got to go upstairs and I got to go take care of some stuff. Remember, anytime I'm at these shows or whatever, I go live because I didn't earn the leisure time to sit downstairs with a bunch of millionaires, and I'm not a millionaire. I got to continue to put in the work until my work bears the fruit that I feel that is deserving of the work that I put in. So I go right back upstairs because, again, I did not get to Summer Games Fest based upon myself. I got onto Summer Games Fest based upon you guys, right? Anybody telling you that they don't do this, that they're bugging. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'll catch you in a minute. And she was like, yo, just remember, I fight for you. When she says she fights for me, she understands that I speak for the people. The reason why I'm telling you that I speak for the people is because a lot of you guys be like, I don't hold them accountable or I don't talk to them. I do. Like a lot of these other people like to Yasa Boss and dance and they face and all that. Listen, the only thing that separates me from you is circumstance and opportunity. So I'm never really a fan of anyone. I guess maybe that's the New York in you. But give me the opportunity, then I can show you my worth. I told you, if I was in certain people's position, I would run the company into the ground, because the mentality that I have is a warlike mentality, and I will always see blue as the ops, right? You always have to pick this or that mentality. You pick something, you stick to something. That's how it is. That's loyalty. right? Some people get this thing mixed up. Now, the next time I saw Sarah was at Tokyo Game Show. Tokyo Game Show. Now I'm talking to Aaron Greenberg. Me and him is chopping it up because we're talking about the Ninja Gaiden 4 and all the stuff that went into it. And he's showing me the swords and we going into the lore and we talking about the merch because he was like, yo, are you going to be in New York City at this day? I said, I live in New York City. He said, well, at Central Park at this time, we're going to be doing the merch with he's talking about the splash with the sword and all that other stuff. Remember the stuff that you saw? Yeah. So he was like, yo, if you there, come through. Got you. Blessings, right? Because Coggan was talking on some other stuff. Me and him went around the corner and was talking on the Ninja Gaiden stuff. If you saw that, I put up the picture. Me and him was having a conversation. Right after that, he's like, yo, I got a boogie. Right? I'm like, all right. What is it? Kwame Curley with the $5 super chat. Sorry if I butchered your name. Do you think this will mess with the Japanese support you guys got back? I know Phil was big as to why they came back to Xbox. Bro, I'm going to explain stuff to you on a fundamental basis that I want you to understand. The reason why I'm telling you these stories is I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. Then I'm going to break it down even further. To answer your question, yes. Okay? So for me answering your question, I'm going to answer your question. Yes. So immediately after he says he's gonna boogie, I turn to my cameraman and I'm like, okay, you can wrap it. Sarah said, oh, snap. I turned around and she was standing there, and then the Xbox people, because she was doing a tour of Tokyo Game Show, and she was the Xbox people didn't know what was going on, because me and her just started talking, gave a hug and all that, and we just started talking about the presence at the show. And I'm like, yo, what's up with no booth? And she said, we're all over the floor. Now, what she meant by we're all over the floor is every PC that was on the floor had an Xbox controller and was playing Xbox games, but every booth had an Xbox ROG Ally X. I'm like, that's not a booth. I come from, when we go to these cons, Xbox has a booth, Nintendo has a booth, PlayStation has a booth. I'm at Tokyo, and I said, I thought in my head, I didn't say this out loud, I thought you guys were trying to make an impact here. Sony had a gigantic booth. Nintendo really didn't have a damn thing. Richard Torres with the $10 MMA, with the $10 super chat. I don't want to hear Xbox's dead talk. Dudes called Phil and Sarah's head. Now y'all want to be skeptical? Miss me with all this double talk. Let's let it play out. Don't worry, Richard Torres. Don't worry. Let me get to it. Let me get to it. You see, when these guys ask for Phil and Sarah's head and Matt, don't let nobody fool you. They was asking for Matt head a long time ago. When they asked for their head, they wanted that because they wanted it back in blood. If they hire me, they're going to fire me the same day because I'm going to be worse than Phil, and I'm damn sure going to be louder than Sarah. You understand that part? If they hire me, they're going to fire me 5 minutes later because I'm going to be worse than Phil and louder than Sarah. Okay? Just let that sink in. If you let me in the door, a lot of that stuff, it got to be transparent, got to be clear. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, well, it's not doom and gloom conversations that we're having here. We're going to have realistic conversations based upon it. My name ain't changing. It's Xbox Frontline News, and that's exactly it. That's it. Xbox is always going to be there, but I want you to understand that fundamentally, remember when PlayStation, y'all was trying to figure out what the hell happened to PlayStation, what went wrong? When they showed Shohei the door, see, that Sons of Sparta would have never happened had Shohei been there. It would have never happened. But they made sure that they removed Shohei from a position of seeing and giving his input. Because that God of War 2018 was worse than what was released. And Shohei had them fix it up. He hates Atreus. So a lot of things that you're seeing that was transpiring with Xbox was of heavy oversight, heavy relentless oversight. And I'm talking about from Satya, right? And Amy Hood. Now, remember that 30%, and people was like, well, it's not really 30%, but it's this and it's that, and it's all this and it's that. For some weird reason, I think that's real. Right? That 30%, I really think that 30% is real. Do I think certain studios is immune? Me and Attic was having a conversation based upon some other stuff that I think certain studios is immune by the language that they signed in their contracts before the ABK deal happened. So when y'all say stuff like Ninja Theory and Obsidian and other studios, I think those studios sign contracts that makes them pretty much Teflon when it comes to certain things. After we seen what happened with Blue Point, that's a weird thing, because if you're into remakes and remasters, right, why wouldn't you just tell Blue Point just to make Bloodborne? Right? And there's some language in that contract when it comes to Bloodborne. That's why you haven't seen it. So getting back to the conversation that I had with Sarah when we got there, and we're standing there talking. Now that's one, because we have a bigger conversation after the fact. So she's like, yeah, we're on the floor, this, that, and the third. And she's like, well, how long are you in Tokyo for? I'm like, yo, we're here for 2 weeks. And I got to see the city. I got to see this. My first time here. I got to see this place. So she goes, well, catch you in a minute, because we're doing the loop around and I'm going to see some stuff. I'm like, all right, bless. I got to see some stuff that's over here. Remember, Cog and the rest of the Iron Lords are taking care of some stuff, and my cameraman is with me, and we got a boogie. So I'm like, blessings, catch you in a minute. What is that? Is Burgos 35 with the $2 super chat? The math ain't matching. I smell something fishy. You smell a fight. You smell a fight. You smell a fight. You smell a fight. Don't ever get it twisted. When something is weird and something happens in some bugged out fashion, that's based upon a fight. That's based upon an absolute fight. Range 7189 with the $10 super chat. We bling green forever. The line being held out here in Brooklyn. Fact almighty. You said you smell a dead brand. You smell a dead industry that these execs are killing. You're not looking. You're not seeing. Apollo Dingo, that's my dude. Now, he's going to have something disrespectful to say. I understand he is. With the $2 super chat, was always going to end like this. PC Frontline News. Blessings. Phil was never going to stay forever. Right? Phil was never going to stay forever. With people questioning his health, you guys was real mean, bro. It was like y'all was real mean. So back to what I was telling you. So we out there in Tokyo Game Show. So now this is the full Iron Lord. So we're up in the middle. Like when you come in at Tokyo Game Show, there's a giant mural on the wall, and we had our cameraman there. So my cameraman is there, and the team's cameraman is there, and we're like, yo, let's do the picture. We're gonna take a picture and we're gonna record some stuff. We're gonna record promos up against this giant mural. So we're standing there doing the whole thing, and at that moment, Sarah and Phil is coming down the hallway. Now they got an entourage of Microsoft cameramen and stuff like that taking pictures and stuff. So the cameraman and everybody is taking pictures, and then they stop and they like, yo, let's take some pictures. So when y'all see those pictures that was up, or you'll go to the Xbox website or whatever, and you see Tokyo Game Show, you see Iron Lords there, you see them there. That's how that happened. So when that happened, we stood there for a good 35, 40 minutes talking to Jason Ronald, because Jason Ronald's with them, talking to Jason Ronald, talking to Phil, talking to Sarah. And it's like a round robin of conversation going on all at the same time, talking about various things in the industry as far as money hatting, as far as blockage, far as where they are, as far as hardware. Sarah says, I told you hardware's coming. I said, okay. Software is going to be there. Hardware is coming. I'm like, okay. Remember, I'm still not sold on hardware. I'm going to talk to you about that, right? I'm going to talk to you on what I mean when I say that. But those are the two people. Charmer, 4856 with the $2 super chat. Satya pulled off a hostile takeover of gaming. Hashtag sad. Bro. A hostile takeover of gaming isn't the word with Xbox. It isn't just that. It's more so than that. Remember, there was an opposition going up against another opposition. It was Satya, Amy Hood, and I forgot. I always forget. I think his name is Scott. And it was those three against Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Phil, remember, nursed this Xbox back to health, put them in a position for them to win. Remember when they outsold Windows and made everybody look over at them? That was Phil that did that. That was before Sarah got there. That was Phil that did that. Phil made them profitable to a point where now we're looking over. And then around that time, they brought in Sarah. And remember, that's the time with the 4 games, and we're going to sit down at this fire team chat bullshit, and we're going to try to satiate the team and tell y'all it's just 4 games right now. Knowing that their gamble was, you know what their gamble was? Their gamble was those 4 games wasn't going to sell, right? Now, they were right with Hi-Fi Rush because it didn't sell. They were wrong with Pentiment. They were wrong with Grounded, and it was wrong with Sea of Thieves. Only they took the 4 games that was bashed the most, right, by the PlayStation fan base, sent those 4 games that was bashed the most, well, except for Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, this was the spiel. Hi-Fi Rush is critically acclaimed. So they can tell a non-gamer, look at this, right? They can tell a non-gamer, look at this. This is a critically acclaimed game. The world loves it. And we're going to send that over. Right? And then they can say, look at Grounded. Look at the engagement that we're having here. Could you imagine that engagement over there? So you can sell a non-gamer on that. Satya don't know what the hell. He's just looking at the metrics. Okay, good, cool. And you're talking about Pentiment that was made by a critically acclaimed developer. He is incredible. The work that he does is insane. All right, yeah. Send those 4 games over. Secretly, these dudes are like, yeah, we set the booby trap. It ain't gonna sell. And remember, Sea of Thieves been out for a minute. They don't want that, right? Well, bullshit. Because what happens is Pentiment sells. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Remember, everybody's going to be calling me today, and I'm also waiting for a phone call to happen so I can boogie up out of here. Scott Wolford, 76, is a $2 super chat. Satya and AI need to go. I'm going to tell you about the fight. All right, Mofo T-Rex 93 with the $10 super chat. Good looks on the news, King. Keep it up. Facts. I'm going to tell you about the fight. So, they thought they had a dummy bag. They thought they had them. It's not going to sell. Your idea is bullshit. We're good, right? They thought, think about it. Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves. Those 4 games, on the face value of it, is supposed to fail. The only one you think that is going to sell is Hi-Fi Rush, right? Well, it all happened in reverse. Hi-Fi Rush ain't sell shit. So we already tried to put you up there. So Tango is gone. Right? You got the green light to get rid of the studio that you really didn't want. You just wanted the Evil Within IP. There's another IP that they got from it. And they send them off to Crafton. Crafton comes in, Crafton accepts that deal. Boom, you out of here. Grounded actually does well. Sea of Thieves does beyond well. And Pentiment does better than expected. So now the floodgates is up. Right? Because you got to think about it. If we send something that we know that wasn't going to do good and they actually do good, well, then what the hell are we going to tell them? We can't tell them anything now because their strategy from those 3 that was up there, the fight that they were having, that strategy worked. So remember, after that was calling for Phil's head. Phil got to go. How many times do I had to hear that Sarah was a DEI hirer? She didn't know anything about the space, and she can go. She shouldn't be there. How many times had y'all said it was all Sarah's fault? Y'all just didn't know the absolute truth. That's the part with being from the outside and not on the inside. You saw something, assumed something, made a judgment because it wasn't the same as how you liked it. It wasn't the same as when Peter Moore was there. It wasn't the same as Donnie was there. I mean, Donnie did bring football in. He did get the football bag, right? I would love to have the conversation with him. So it wasn't the same then. You guys demonized them, not understanding everything. Now, at the same time, Satya is pushing this AI. He's pushing AI like you wouldn't believe. You see how he gave Xbox that $80 billion to invest into ABK? Now, the contracts that was signed along the way, remember when they was handing out contracts? Those contracts was promissory notes based upon this is what we're going to deliver because when we get this, we need allies going forward. And we need to make sure that we put games all over the place. So when Satya gets involved directly, remember, He had just proved to you his idea works. Placing Xbox games all over the place, his idea works. You got to really start freaking thinking. You got to really start seeing it now, because look at it. Look at it. The individuals that is in there fighting, they're not there. Now, I want you to understand, somebody is standing on business. Somebody that stands on business is a person that sees an injustice to one of their comrades and says, Bafangul. Right? For all my Italians that's in the chat, Bafangul. Not to you. That's what somebody standing on business says. So, one individual gets into an argument based upon conversations and making people look bad. You don't remember the last financials that came out and it was like Xbox was underperforming in services and games based upon this, that, and the third, and hardware was on a decline, and they were trying to throw Xbox under the bus based upon the positivity of all the other sectors, not knowing that the real dude that messed up the rent money was Satya? You ever had a gambling pops or uncle or aunt or somebody? Yo, you're stupid. AI Frontline News is crazy. Yo, you are stupid. That's funny as hell, though. That's funny as hell. But you ever had one of those gambling degenerates in your family that is always betting on something, betting on the rent money, betting with the rent money, betting with stuff? You ever had one of those? Could you imagine they're telling you, yo, I don't got the money for to get your braces done because I gambled it all at Trump's casino. Now, I'm not talking from experience because my pops wasn't there. No, that doesn't come down. That gets folded inside your room on top of the table. Your laundry gets put down here. That is upstairs, folded on top of the table inside your room. Okay? Talking to my son. He's getting over a sinus infection. So, it's the end of the week. All the clothes got to come down, got to get cleaned. Room got to get swept. Stuff got to get done. He's a very responsible young man. What is that? Never nude with the never nude. Why not? That's crazy as hell. The $10 super chat, man. All these clowns have been saying Phil was running Xbox, was ruining Xbox, are about to find out just how much he meant to the company. Most likely some dark days ahead for those of us who love Xbox. Bro, I'm going to get into something that's going to spin your brain. Natty Nay with the $5 super chat. I'm sitting here literally watching Asasha Shear's Twitter account go up right now. It's crazy. Yeah. We're going to talk about Asasha in a minute. So let's say your degenerate gambling uncle gambles away your tuition money or gambles away your trip money. Now, I'm not saying this from experience. My pops wasn't there, so he couldn't gamble away anything. He was working in the Air Force, so they were separated. So no, I didn't have any of that degeneracy, and I don't gamble. I hate to gamble, but I'm just saying, I'm giving you a for instance, Apollo Dingo, 3583, $2 super chat. Sarah Bond left Microsoft to work at Blue Point. Yo, you stupid! Could you imagine? She quit Microsoft to work at Blue Point and got fired. Hey, yo, but no, that's a standing on business. That's somebody that you want in your corner. Remember, I told you, wherever I saw her, I saw Phil. Whenever I saw Phil, I saw her. Spitting game. Like, Phil is going to give you the game. I'm going to give you the game. When I tell you, you didn't have a stronger representation in the building based upon the Xbox brand and based upon what we felt that was still to be true, Those individuals is it. So when I saw other individuals calling for their heads, talking about these individuals are the bad guys, they're the bad seed, I'm like, buddy, you just don't know. Now, this is my opinion based upon this. After that 4-game initial thing that they were reluctant in doing, but they thought they set them up in sending those 4 games over, and it kind of flipped on them. But you don't remember they all got raises? Phil became like CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and Sarah became CEO or president of Xbox, and Matt became like the content CEO or whatever. You don't remember? It looked like hush money to me. It looked like, all right, you did what we asked. Here's some bread. It looked like that to me. So I always had a side eye to it. Remember, I'm going to tell you to follow the money. I'm going to follow the money, dude. The money is always going to lead you to wherever the answers are. So the year Satya gives Phil $80 billion, remember, every year Microsoft has to invest $80 billion. That's the same time that Xbox outsold Windows. So Satya is sold on the idea of whatever Phil told him to get ABK. All that stuff happens in a way that ABK falls in his lap, and it comes in for a song. It comes in at the exact price that you got to get rid of this bread every year. They got to invest the money regardless. That's how the business works. They have $80 billion every year to invest. Remember when Satya was yanked off of any of that Microsoft stuff and put face first in front of AI? Remember that? Like you not worrying about nothing else. You get over there. Because you've been talking this open AI stuff for a minute. You've been doing this Anthropic. You done got us to do these quantum chips. You done spent our money. You better make our money back. So who's the first dude you go looking for when you are tasked to get back money that you spent? The guy that owes you money. Oh, I got to put pressure on this dude. Because, remember that $80 billion I gave you? And you went and got ABK. Remember that $80 billion that I put in your hand? Follow the goddamn money, man. Remember that $80 billion that I put in your hand, man? Yeah, I'm going to need that. You know when you leaning heavy on somebody? When you leaning on them to get back what you gave them? Stuff get dicey. Stuff get dicey. When you cutting corners on different things and you're looking at stuff and see, because you're in charge of the finances coming down and you leaning on Hood, sending the Hood over there. Man, it's 30%, man. But when I signed up with you, it was 10 cents on a dollar. Now we looking at 30 cents on a dollar now, man. It's not the conversation that we had, son. The conversation that, the price of the brick gone up. See, AI isn't not giving you back the money that you invested in it. It's not. When you promise shareholders a return on investment based upon your projections of you listening to Sam Altman, and you're forced to realize that Sam Altman was a snake oil salesman that will work with NVIDIA, anybody that's throwing the bag his way. See, I don't work with everybody. There's certain people in this industry that I won't work with based upon I understand that money moves them. And if money moves you, then your loyalty is based nowhere. There's a couple of people that come to mind. I wouldn't do anything with them under any circumstances, and they've begged. You would never see them on my platform. You would never see them. You would never see them in my circumference. It's irritant to me. If you're moved by money, then there's no use for me with you because I'm not moved by money. My relationships with individuals is based upon relationship ties. Loyalty is based upon the equalness of the relationship. See, if you want to check the pedigree of someone, then check the pedigree of the individual you trust. If you trust me, and if I'm naming Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer first of his name, and I'm giving him that level of cachet, understand I'm thinking highly of that individual. So if you think highly of me, your trust is well vested in that individual. So this dude is leaning on him to get back this bread based upon his failures that he made in the AI arena. We see Bitcoin falling based upon information that was just given out. We see AI being stagnant because I thought the quantum chip was supposed to mix with the AI, was supposed to take us to the next level. If you haven't been looking at Microsoft stocks, told you follow the money. If you haven't been looking at Microsoft stocks, it's been falling. In one day, they lost 400 billion. Well, damn it. Or was it 46 billion? I don't have the billion, but I understand it was a 4 and something. You know what? Okay, Google. What's the highest dollar loss Microsoft has just recently lost in a stock drop?
In January 2026, Microsoft suffered its largest single-day dollar loss in company history, erasing $357 billion in market value. Recent major losses. Single-day record. On January 29, 2026, shares plummeted 10% following a Q2 earnings report that spooked investors with high AI spending and heavy exposure to OpenAI. Intraday peak. At its lowest point during that trading session, the company's value had evaporated by approximately $430 billion. 2026 year-to-date. As of mid-February 2026, Microsoft has lost roughly $613 billion in total market capitalization for the year, a 17% decline from its peak. This drop was driven by concerns over $37.5 billion in quarterly capital expenditures and a slight slowdown in Azure cloud growth. Would you like me to compare this to the recent losses seen by Nvidia or Apple?
Do you think I'm capping? Do you think I'm capping? Do you think I'm capping? My man's head on a chopping block because of another dude's overspending in a situation that he said I could bring back that bread. This guy bet Microsoft future gambling with Sam Altman. They were gobbling up a whole bunch of, listen, I told you I'm doing a whole documentary on AI, so I know exactly what the hell I'm talking about because I know about the expenditures. I know exactly where money goes, and if it don't go where it's supposed to go, it's not going to be no return. AI ain't giving the return back. They were told that the Azure cloud will be the most, listen, how many times are you going to lean on somebody before they buck up on you? How many times are you going to lean on a solid dude before the solid dude bucks up on you? You ain't gonna sit there and tell somebody who has over 28 years at the job before you got there. You're gonna do what I say. Wait a second, B. Wait a second, B. You the reason. Why you trying to make my brand look like my brand ain't doing what my brand is supposed to do? You don't want to tarnish the brand based upon those 4 games. You did this. Had we did what we supposed to do with what we had and made dudes get over here to us, then maybe it looks a little bit different. But we're doing it how you wanted to do it. We mixing it how you what else you want from me, my guy? So what point in time do a real dude just say, man, fuck that, man? Hold on. Hold on. Let me see what else he said. You said, I'm sorry, David, you a victim. A victim of what? A victim of what? I gotta hear it. Next time, put it in color. I'm just giving you a blessing right now. Pull it in color. I'm giving you game. If your dumb ass ain't smart enough to listen to what the fuck I'm saying, then just sit down and shut up. I'm giving you game. Do you think, because Xbox didn't lose no 460 something billion. Microsoft did. But you're spinning it like Xbox is the problem. You spinning it like this dude here is the issue. No. You the freaking issue, B. Like, don't sit here and try to spin it like these dudes ain't doing what you said and they doing it better than this. Xbox ain't never been this profitable. They is profitable at the detriment of what you've involved. But your spending habits in this sector is messing up the bag. Your allegiance to somebody that has no allegiance to you is tearing up everything. You next. And you can always tell who fault it is. Hollywood Rules with the $5 super chat. Sati is probably in deep shit. You know, it's like a sports GM. He's gonna handpick his own team because he's desperate to save his own ass. Bro. Sorry. Sorry. You know when I hit that button. All right, so he said Sati is probably in deep, you know what, in the sports GM, like a sports GM. He's gonna handpick his own peeps because he's desperate to save his own ass. Facts. Yeah, I turned off the mic. Yeah, I hit the button. Listen, shout out to HP. This mic is a blessing and a curse. Satya hires. Hold on, what's her name? Asha. Hold on. I got it all. And I want you to think about this, right? I want y'all to think about this, right? Asha Sherman. Here. Satya hires her. Phil Spencer retires as Microsoft Gaming CEO, and Asha Sherman's name is his successor. Who is she? Who is she? She lands at Microsoft in an AI productive role. Remember, she was with AI. Who is she? Was she in gaming? Was she in gaming? No. Was she in a position of gaming? No. No. Where was she? She was in AI, right? She was in AI, right? She was in AI, right? If the dude that you leaning on ain't going for your BS and tell you go yourself, you can take the job, you can take it, you can go where you gonna go with it because you're not gonna keep tarnishing my name based upon your indiscretions and overspending in a place that's not bringing back the revenue that you expected it to bring back. Tony, exactly. Who the fuck is she? I'm not gonna say Satya don't want a black woman in power because that woman is of black origin. Don't do that. 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 I'm that ninja. Don't do that. Think about it. You did not see a Caucasian individual on that screen. You saw a person of color. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're saying that she don't need to be a gamer. No. I'm not telling you that she needs to be a gamer. She needs to have a gaming background. Wasn't that the problem that you said with Sarah? Wasn't that the problem that you said with Sarah, that she didn't have a gaming background? And when she came from T-Mobile, you don't get play anywhere without Sarah. You don't get a lot of that work that was done in Japan with Phil without Sarah. She was sent on a lot of emissary situations based upon Phil's recommendation and Phil's word. Go handle this based upon this relationship, and let's make this stronger. Hollywood rules. With the $5 super chat, doesn't take a genius to figure out why the queen bounced. Why would I take orders from a chick? She was probably promised next in line. Nah, it's not that. It go deeper than that, homie. It go deeper than that, homie. I'm gonna give you some game. Has anybody been following Floyd Mayweather, and he just sued Showtime for $300 million? But he sued Showtime for $300 million, but he didn't sue his manager, Al Heyman, his advisor, Al Heyman, when all the deals went through Al Heyman. Him and Al Heyman settled out of court. Why? Because that's his big OG. And he was never going to drag his big OG's name through the dirt. Right? But the problem was always Showtime. So Showtime was doing felonious things with the bread. So he was never going to be disrespectful to his OG who put him on the game, who got him to the big dance. Phil signed off on Sarah. See, if y'all don't know how the hiring thing goes in these big tech companies, there's rounds and series of things, and then you have individual meetings. Phil signs off on Sarah, and Phil signs off on understanding that, okay, I'm going to take you under my wing. I'm going to teach you some stuff, and we're going to get to it. You're going to be highly successful in this place. If you see somebody setting it on your OG outside, what is your first course of action? Wind up if you buck. Wind up if you buck. Right? You don't think she didn't see Sati and Phil at the situation and she ain't... Hold on a second. Wait a second. I know this ninja ain't bugging. Right? Right? You don't think she ain't walking around with am I my brother's keeper or not? I told you. And I'm going to keep it a bean here. This is where the bean comes in. I seen Sarah and Phil. Not like they together, but when I see Sarah, I see Phil. When I see Phil, I see Sarah. He has his group that he's over there with. She has her group that she's over there with. Never seen Matt Booty. Never once. Seen Matt Booty when we was eating inside a sushi surf and turf type of thing. Everybody's with me. All my stuff is corroborated. All my stuff can be verified. We seen Matt Booty in passing. Matt Booty's over there. They like, yo, King, you want... Nah, I'll talk to him on another time, and I'm eating my food. I told you I'm a fan of no one. Only thing that separates me and you is circumstance. Given the same circumstance, I think I'll outpace you. Sir C.J. Julius, $2 super chat. You cooking, King. Much love from Chicago. Blessings. See, Chicago, I got to tell you, these dudes don't understand the game that I'm spitting down because a lot of these dudes are squares. But I'm giving squares knowledge right now. I'm giving you what it is. If you see two people leave that was in a leadership position, and I told you every time I see him, I see her. He giving game. That ain't sitting well with her. You ain't gonna be disrespecting the OG. Oh, you can have the, man, your position. I'm out. Oh, but you was never on the line. I'm out. Figure it out. If Matt was really that dude, Matt would have been like, I'm out too. You fix it all by your goddamn self. But I told you, I seen 1 and 2. I never saw 3. So do you think that it shocks me that 3 is there and is elevated? Et tu, Bute? Really? I told you, follow it, man. It ain't hard to understand. Now, there's Goofy. I told you, if you've been watching, she's on the board of Tyson. That has nothing to do with anything. She's on the board of Tyson. She's not going to be working at Tyson's Foods. She's on the board of Tyson's. You know, that would really be a complete different thing. But she's on the board of Tyson. They're on several boards of different things. A lot of these CEOs were on boards of certain things. All right, understand that. They're getting bags from all over the place with advisory stuff. Phil is going to still be on the advisory of Xbox when it comes to the transitioning. Because this woman, sorry to disrespect her credentials, but your credentials is in AI. Don't understand the infrastructure that is necessary for gaming. Gaming is a complete different beast, right? Understand that part. Understanding that the gaming beast part of it is a complete different beast, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that damn follow. Because you're not going to get real like this from everybody. You're going to get somebody capping, talking about, oh, yo, it's going to be X, Y, and Z. Let me tell you something. If we go to war and everybody dies in the field, or we're fighting in the field, and I turn around and you ain't there, or you don't want to make it back, then use the snake, dude. We'll spend them out of business, but you're the only person that's still there. We'll spend them out of business, but you're the only dude that's still there. I'm looking at you different. I'm looking at you with the quine eye. Don't tell me I'm going to be the one that's going to save this. Bro, you ain't him. So if anybody's sitting there talking about, well, Matter do it, fuck out of here. Nah. There's always going to be an Xbox. What that box looks like now, I told you, y'all asked for the wrong thing. Y'all asked for the wrong thing. Get rid of Phil. If any of your diehard Xbox dudes is out there talking about Phil gotta go, if any one of you diehard dudes were saying Phil gotta go, well, you got your wish. I told you, y'all are gonna rule the day. Phil goes. You know what this validates in this instance? It let me know exactly. Oh, you saying what's in here? Well, one, this is my wife's shaker cup, Wonder Woman. Because like I told you before, I'm waiting for some information so I can just boogie it out of here. If you think that I'm down over this situation, I'm not. But I got other things that I'm worrying about. And in here I have some creatine. I take creatine every day. I take better than average dose of creatine based upon recovery, healing, and all that other stuff. I think it does wonders. I think creatine does wonders for your recovery on your workout and all this other stuff. Again, in solidarity, me and her's on some stuff, working on some stuff with her. But Sarah telling you I quit. That's the realest shit I've seen a CEO do. Sean Layden was dragged out the building. His key card didn't work. He was dragged out the building. Shohei was disrespected, sent downstairs to the slop sink, worked out of the sock sinks, told some days he didn't even have to come to work. You disrespected a legend in the manner that you disrespected that legend in, and Jack Trenton was gone. And then they showed Shohei the door. I felt all of that was disrespectful. Firing Phil because you are the problem. You are the issue because you're next. Right? Your head is next. Sakasatia's head is next. You're next. You the issue. You was playing around with this AI stuff. You was doing all this stuff with this AI. They lost the largest money ever. Y'all spun it to make it look like it was these dudes. If you had a normal margin that everybody else has in the industry, anywhere from 8 to 12, if you had a normal margin of return, instead of the weird number that you got, 28 to 30, who the fuck does that? But you do it to make these dudes look bad so they don't look over at your spending habits. So this dude ain't taking the weight for your fall. He's not taking it. So you will get into an argument with this guy because you're squeezing. Look, Phil done told you we're going to do different things based upon not wanting to monetize and squeeze our existing customers. We're going to do different things. Without Phil, there's no Game Pass. Without Sarah, there's no Play Anywhere, Everywhere. They did everything down the line. Whatever you were saying down the line, they did it all. Yo, let's go do this. You don't need an Xbox. Cloud gaming. Let me tell you what these CEOs want, and let me tell you how Satya fits into that. Who's that? The Hammer One, member for 12 months, Soldier S rank. I salute you, Soldier. Let me tell you what it is. Okay? Let me tell you what it is. They don't want you to own PCs. They want you to rent PC clouding. They don't want you to own hardware. They want you to rent. They don't want you to own games. They want you to stream. That's why this guy feels that his revenue here. Now, remember how Xbox is pushing all this streaming and stuff like that? When they get to a certain level of how many people are streaming, Xbox is streaming the most. It's the most growth we've seen in streaming. Remember that? It's the most growth we've seen in streaming. Who's the better platform when it comes to streaming? NVIDIA, yeah? NVIDIA, right? Y'all know it, right? Nobody's fighting the fight for Xbox, boy. Like what you people think that you fighting a fight. I told you, Captain America, I definitely hold the line. I hold the line for my team. I'm Team Green. Just the same way you like the Knicks or you like the Bucks or whoever the hell you like, and you sitting there, you probably got a tattoo of Michael Jordan face on your ass. I got no tattoos of Xbox on my body. And I got a full back tattoo. All right? I got no tattoos of no Xbox on my body. But I also ain't got no sports teams on me. So the same way that you got a New York Rangers tattoo on your nipples, the same way that you got banned out of the arena because you was fighting a Seattle Seahawks fan, the same way that you did that, you ain't never catch me outside fighting nobody that like PlayStation. It ain't that serious. But you's a fan and you's a rabbit fan doing rabbit fan things. So if I'm a fanboy over my console, yeah, B, I'm going to do that. I'm Team Green. I'm down for that. Am I psychotic like you are when it comes to the Bucks? I'm pretty sure that you's a Met fan, and when Bill Buckner, the ball rolled between his legs, you was calling for his death. Shut up. Don't tell me not to be a fan of something. I'm a fan of Xbox. I like the ecosystem. I tell you, when they do something that I don't like, then it's up. You tried to put the weight on my man. You tried to put the weight on him. Sarah wasn't going for it, told you, freak. That's it. Matt's still there. Told you before, I never seen Matt around. So don't ever try to mix it up. Hood dudes know everything that I'm saying here is true. If we fight, we go out and we fight, we all fight together. If all three of us got black eyes, we good. If only me and my man got a black eye and your eyes are clear and you wasn't fighting, your jersey ain't dusty, what the hell's going on here, man? What's going on here, man? What's up? You get a raise? I put you on. I vouched for you. I got you hired. Phil Hyatt, Matt. All my hood dudes know what the hell I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. We go to the plug, and the plug try to spaz on me. If I back him down, you better be backing him down too. If you draw on me, then I know who you was with. Sarah wasn't about that. And y'all not gonna sit here and try to put Ish on her name. I told you she was real from the beginning. I told you the conversations that me and her had anyway. I recognize real because I'm real. I see real. So when I know real, I see real. I understand real. I can tell you what real is. I can tell you. I ain't never seen that dude. I ain't never have a conversation with that dude. I never shook that man's hand and looked in his eyes and understood where he was from. Who brought you home? Who's your OG? Who jumped you in? Who's this dude? Y'all like Conor McGregor, right? Y'all didn't understand when Conor McGregor said, whose mans is this? When Conor McGregor said, who the fuck is this guy? Y'all didn't understand that. Conor's straight from the streets, man. Not telling you, you gotta be grimy, but you gotta understand certain language. A lot of times I'm talking to you guys and I'm talking in coded language to other individuals that's watching, that understand, that get it. When you see these two CEOs, when you see them and one dude quits and the next chick leaves, oh no, that was a fight. This dude and that dude did something. She said, not like that. Not to my dude. And back down on him too. Legendary Intel, the $5 super chat. Microsoft CEO is dirty for this. Sarah the realist. King is trying to teach y'all how the corporate America works, and after they bring home game of the year, shake my head. Facts. Facts. Yo, Legendary, your package should be this one. Don't worry about it. All the people that want your package should be this one. Don't worry about it. But a lot of dudes try to act like I'm not there. I'm there to know, to tell you what it is. So when you see something weird like this happen, you see something like that happen, it ain't, oh, you were underperforming, your job is gone. No. Nah. Your overspending in this area put the whole company at a detriment. I gave y'all the information. I sat there and played it to you. You should know exactly what I'm talking about, to be fact. This dude's overspending hurt every area of this company. And the area that they tried to make a scapegoat is the area that Phil was in charge of. They just sold 5 million old-ass games. Forza Horizon 5? It's an old-ass goddamn game, and y'all sold it at a real high price. Like it just came out. I don't know how you pulled that trick off. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. You made 300 in revenue, 300 mil in revenue. You bring it in, and you look over at this dude. This dude just turned water into wine. He took some old shit and made it new again. And you look over at him like he's the issue? Are you smoking rocks? Nah. The Hammer one with the $5 super chat there was quiet for a long time. A long time, me too. Something was cooking behind the scenes. Nah. They weren't quiet. When stuff happens, I DM people. When conversations happen, now mind you, today I have not had a chance to DM either one of them. Not one. I told you, I have personal life situations that's happening right now that I am more focused on that this don't really matter like that. Neither one of those individuals is going broke. Neither one of those individuals is out on the street. Neither one of those individuals won't be able to find jobs. Yes, they will. There's companies that will hire them right now today. So neither one of them are in a bad position. They were in a bad position based upon one individual's overreaching When you start pulling money from different parts of the company and you start downsizing based upon your bad habits, well, then what the hell do you think is going to happen? He's next, right? Now, somebody asked me, how do I feel like the Game Pass thing is going to go? You know what's funny? Somebody said that Phil said this whole Xbox thing is over in 2027. Why do you think he said that? Why do you think he said that? Was it based upon the fact that he already knew that he was out of the door by 2027? Because by that time, the new console will be there, and then he already have the runway to his successor, which fundamentally, how it was based, Sarah would have went on and she would have taken Xbox further. Now, let's get to hardware. They're not making traditional hardware from manufactured by them. They're not. It's going to be OEM hardware, like I've told you. They're not. So all that, oh, it's gonna be Xbox. No, it's not. I told you before they wasn't gonna do it. I told you when I heard it, bullshit. I told you that. Jesse Darby, $15.91 with the $2 super chat. King, just remember, Sony's next, right? Bro. Do you think all this happens in a vacuum? Do you think? I don't ever think Sony goes anywhere. I told you, hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're going to run it up on these bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. Do you think that changes? Nah. Nah, Papa, that don't change. They're not in the business of selling you a $900 console. So if you want to, in your goofy brain, if you want to think they're going to try to sell you a console at $900, you're smoking. The PlayStation 5 Pro is not going down in price. Actually, consoles are going up in price. CEOs don't want you to own a goddamn thing. So stop acting like this is an isolated thing. Stop. Stop. Just look. Just look. That Steam machine, if it's not out in March, I told you already. If it's not out in March, they're truly screwed, because that means that device is way more than we're thinking. They got until the end of March. I need a date. I need a price. They're out of stock on Steam decks. They're trying to introduce fake FOMO. Man, if you're not listening, you're missing in the blessings. Listen to me. None of these, well, just these two, they're not going to cease to exist. They already have what they needed, us and our digital selves. You see, you already have a digital library. Some of us rates in the thousands. Let me show you something. Because apparently you think I'm just talking to just talk, right? Let me show you something. All right, hold on. It's crazy as I didn't even have it installed in here. Oh, because I just did something. Let me show you something. You said PlayStation 6 is on the way, nothing stopping that. They're not selling you $1,000 machine. You got to be stupid to think so. You got to be real stupid to think so. You know what's not stopping? What's definitely showing up? The next Xbox. But it's OEM. I told you that. And then you're going to say something stupid like, well, it's not an Xbox. Who manufactures the PlayStation? Who manufactures the Xbox? Yo, look at this. I want you to look at this. Hold on. All right, hold on. I want you to look at this because a lot of y'all don't know. Damn, I don't think you can see it. All right, hold on. Let me give you this. All right, cool. Does it tell you how many games I own? All right. I'm going to show you all the games, right? All the games. All right. They got me. They got me 100% hook, line, and sinker. All right. Now, I'm pretty sure that tons of you have libraries larger than mine. That's not even my Steam. That's not even my PlayStation stuff. That's not even, I have tons of games. But they already got what they asked for. Your digital self. You're already locked in. You're not going anywhere. So they already know. Neither one of these companies are going anywhere, right? We know that, right? Neither one of these branches are going anywhere. They're going to try to sell you something based upon how they see you. This day, Phil is not there. Sarah is not there. Remember, I told you her exact words is, I'm still fighting for you. She's not talking about exactly me. She knows I represent you. I represent the people. When I told you, when I walked in the building, I came in there 20, 30 strong. Jay Barry could tell you. Jay Barry was in Boston. He texted me that he was at a certain pub. I realized the pub that he was at got up my team and headed straight over to him because he was in a bad part of the city. I used to live in Boston at a time. I had a house out in Somerville. I was in Dorchester. No, I had a house out in Dorchester, and I stayed in Somerville. We go in there. It's him and Pasana there in the back. I chop it up with him. I see them. It's a sea of salt and only 2 specks of pepper in that salt. They're getting you drunk to finish you off. Pause. They was giving them mad liquor. So when I get in there, they're like, yo, you want some? Nah, I'm good. I'm here for my homies. Anybody that knows me that's in this chat, they know me. Any of my Cali people that here that know me, I'm the one driving to Compton, popping the trunk, handing out T-shirts. When I go to Compton, when I go to California, I go to the Slosh and Swap meet. I'm pulling up in a Corvette, bopping out, buying stuff, making sure I'm that dude. I go get my peoples. It ain't a PlayStation thing. It ain't an Xbox thing. It's a us thing. It's a we thing. So I know real. So when she looks over at that guy, disrespecting that guy, man, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Both companies are going to survive. PlayStation is not in the business of selling you a $900 console. Xbox don't give a damn. Microsoft doesn't care what the price of the console is at all. At all. Remember when I told you $14.99? Do I look like a fool now? Do I look like a fool now? When the only 2 people that would have fought that $14.99 price is no longer there, do I look like a fool now? Do I look like a fool now when I told you the price? PlayStation is not in the business of selling that. They told you they're not in the business of selling that. They would rather sell you a weaker console, give it a name, and make you believe something. Both of these companies are going to survive. Both of these companies are here for that. Now, one of these companies are going to walk away. What does this change for the Xbox person? Let me tell you what this changes today. What happened today? Let me tell you what changed today. What changed today is you no longer have those individuals that are fighting for you in that building. Xbox, the brand itself, is going to be more so less of what you remember, less of what you know, and more of what it's going to become. That migration over to what PC and Xbox looks like, that Unity, all your digital stuff is always going to be there. Your digital life, your digital essence, everything is going to be there. Don't you fret on that. Nothing changes from a consumer standpoint. You know, the average consumer doesn't give a damn, and doesn't know, and doesn't care. They don't care. But you do, because you're a console gamer. You are the creme de la creme. When it comes to this hobby, me and you are in this hobby together. You're going to have different people try to give you different spins off of stupid stuff because they don't get outside. You're going to have a lot of squares and lames trying to tell you what is in front of you. Or you're going to have individuals dissecting my conversation to you, and in their square, in their little lame brain, they're going to try to decipher the code. The real ones know, and the fake ones, well, you just won't know. And you're going to hear somebody regurgitate something that I said someplace else and try to give some credibility to it. I told you, when you're not credible, you try to stand next to a credible person to make yourself credible. All I gave you is firsthand accounts. Now, from looking at stuff, I see exactly what happened. When your gambling debt outpaces yourself, you start looking at people that owe you money. When you start leaning on those people that owe you money to fix up your situation, things ain't going to go right, because you're going to lean on a real dude, and the real dude ain't going to listen to what you're trying to say by changing up what was previously agreed upon. And if he got real people standing with him, those real people want to ride with him. Now, if those two individuals step off the plate, they're moved out, and they came in at 3 strong, I put you down, but you walking with the plug, then use the rat. Use that guy. So again, Xbox is fine. Not in the sense of what you thinking. Your digital self will always be there. That console coming out now, I told you from the beginning, I'd never believed that they were making one. I told you it was going to be OEM hardware. I told you that. You think Satya, the guy that's spending the money on AI stuff, is going to say, yeah, let's get the form factor, let's get that to manufacturing, let's get that. Hell no. Excuse me. They're going to do, like I said, they're going to sell those chips to their partners. They're going to have distribution all over the place. You said stop the cap? You said stop the cap? Are you willing to show back up here when they do exactly what I said they did? Are you willing to show back up here? And that's who that? That's a DeLuca. 142. Are you willing to show back up here when that console is the price that I said it is going to be? It's going to be OEM. They're going to have different consoles at different prices. The one that you want is going to be that $14.99. Trust what I'm telling you. It's going to be made by either Asus, Lenovo's going to be the cheapest one, and you are not going to find just a solitary Xbox branded one just made by Xbox. I stand on that. If you think, please just show back up here. Please just show back up here They're not making a PC. This is what I'm trying to tell you. It's going to be PC-like. The system on chip, the SoC on chip is going to be the differentiating factor in that device. That's what's going to make it that hybrid thing that you trust me when I'm telling you this. They already got those chips being made by AMD. They're going to be the owners, providers, and sellers of those chips to their manufacturing partners. Those consoles are going to come out. They're going to play all your games back compat, all that. The Series X console is never going to die. As long as you pick up those devices made by those partners, it's going to be 4 of them. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. If I'm wrong, come back. Come back. Now, Trust is gonna have more powerful stuff inside. It's gonna be able to do everything. But remember what I'm trying to explain to you. This company already extrapolated everything that they needed from those individuals based upon that. Now you just need figureheads that's gonna listen. Satya put somebody in place that was AI allegiance. Look. I'm not lying to you. That person is AI allegiant. She came from AI. Right? If you're gonna tell me, King, Sarah didn't know anything about the gaming industry and she told you from her own mouth that she had to learn, and you was telling me all the time that she was a DEI hire based upon her race, based upon her being a female, and based upon them needing that in that space at that time, you're not going to tell me that this ain't the same thing, but in a way that that person is more palatable to what the agenda is? If 2 people left based upon one person getting into a situation with another, and that other person standing on business, look at it. Look at it. I'm pretty sure Satya thought that I'm going to disrespect Phil, and Phil is just going to leave, and Sarah, we'll move Sarah over and we'll do that. And she said, nah. Some people you just can't buy. Some people is just that loyal. Some people, when you disrespect their friends, and their friends are not in the room, those people stand up for your name. Some people are just that way. I pray that you surround yourself with those people, that when you're not there and somebody's down talking your name, or when you ready to squabble up, they got your back. I pray that you have those people there, because they found out who was a real one. They found out. I already knew she was a real one. I told you that all the time. I told you that. So when y'all dudes be saying weird stuff, I just look at y'all because I'm like, damn, man, y'all got it twisted. Somebody must have told you something else that ain't close to the situation, that don't know the situation. I'm telling you what it is. I got a couple of friends that I can call on the phone in the middle of the night, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yo, B, I got a problem, man. I need you to go pick up my car, the other car. The keys is over here. I need you to go do that. I need you to bring that to me. Just drop it. Don't say nothing and keep it pushing. Got you. I got a couple of friends. Tried and true friends. I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho. Now, we're going to have a conversation with them. I'm going to have a conversation. Something's going to happen. Something's going to shake. Something's going to shake. So, when that stuff happens, when that stuff shakes, y'all going to see. But I want y'all to remember this day. I want y'all to remember, I told you, one, How much that console is going to cost? I told you too. It ain't going to be no Xbox. It's going to be OEM. Trust me. Definitely right now. Definitely. Prices of consoles is not going down. They're going to only go up. Y'all looking for an AI bubble to pop. It's not going to do that because they're getting money from you. But what's happening is AI is not giving back money. The part where they make money is not falling back in. A lot of those dudes was heavily invested in that, and they were paying through Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin is follow the money. We're going to have Fight Night Friday. We're going to have Fight Night Friday. It's going to happen today. Yo, you don't think Phil wasn't fired? Wait a second. From all the stuff that you just heard me tell you, you don't think that Phil wasn't fired? Somebody being in a company that long, you just can't just let them go. They have to be in some form of an advisory position. He's top dog. He was sitting next to Bill Gates at a lot of these functions. Remember that when I'm telling you this. He's going to be in an advisory position. He's going to, hey, yeah. Just very cavalierly with some stuff. But you don't think he was fired? I believe he was fired and Sarah quit. I believe that he was fired and Sarah quit. I believe, and this is just me, I believe allegedly one tried to disrespect, one bucked up, and they was like, you fired. And another one said, well, F you, I'm out. Simple. It ain't hard math. It ain't hard math. But you think he was fired off of not performing or something like that? Nah, not that. Not that. I would really like for you to stop listening to people that's not outside. I would really like for you to stop listening to individuals that are reading articles that are popping up and not there. This ain't AI generated. This is real. Here's a reason why I go live every day. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today I went earlier. Like I told you, I got circumstances happening. Now, I'm going to drop my son off, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to do Fight Night Friday. And I'm going to do Fight Night Friday for however long that I can do it, because that situation is going to change at some point in time, and I'm going to boogie up out of here. But this is Xbox Frontline News. If you were enlightened today and you found something that you found today, that you like today, that you care about, it's not going to change. Xbox is always going to be here. What they look like is going to change. Right? How do I feel? Legendary Yobi with the $5 super chat. I can't wait for Phil Spencer and Xbox Sarah Bond interview on IOP, either in a live capacity or Lords After Dark episode. Oof. Happy 10K King blessings. Jesse Darby with the $15.91 with the $2 super chat. King. They don't know what ride or die is. They don't. Hopefully that you find that ride or die person that really rides or die with you. What I'm telling you is that person that knows that we may not make it back from this. And they're like, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. You got an extra clip? Let's go. Ain't been a better day to die than today. That person. I got something like that. Hopefully you find somebody like that. You find people like that, you be real with them, you don't mess up. Because I'm going to tell you right now, no matter what, and I can guarantee you, when we have that conversation with those individuals, I can guarantee you, I know who stood on their square. Hollywood Rules, $2 super chat, happy 10K King, blessings, man. Y'all guys helped me get here. Y'all guys helped me get here. Being real helped me get here. Spartan, what's good? I'm going to be back, but what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to do what I try to do every day, what I'm going to do later. I want you to go where game is game and win is win. And I want you to try to play the game pass. But before you do that, I want you to listen to the best intro in the land. And I got another intro for you guys at Fight Night. You know what? Y'all want to know what Fight Night sounds like? Y'all want to know what Fight Night music sound like? Get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Presents the featured event of the evening. As tonight, presented Boxing After Dark.
Fight talk, can't hit a thing when the lights off. Can't talk heavy with a light jaw. Hold on. Fight talk, can't hit a thing when your lights off. Can't talk heavy with a light jaw. Might win, might lose, or might draw. Welcome to the combat talk. Haters in love, but it come back salt. If you really want it in the ring, I gon' send a contract off, knock his contacts out. You a field mice trying to take a viper. Ain't no competition in the ring of cipher. Cause I'm spitting venom and I'm swinging fire. Talking pickled peppers, make 'em pay the piper. Cause I might go left like a rude discussion and deflate your chest like a boob reduction. You be talking like you want a new concussion. Send a dude a custom attitude adjustment. These are fighting words, better give me that respect that I deserve. For another knuckle sandwich I would serve. Have him tipping, moving like a tire swerve. Out here acting bad, thinking Michael Jackson. Even got his one and only homie capping. You a phony homie, now you owe me action. Have him singing Tony Braxton. And they all wanna talk for attention, but the fame only lasts for an instant. Mama got hands, so I'm bred for the tension. I'ma leave him red, you can dance to redemption.
Like I said, I'm the king of this. I make it happen. I don't play around. That was my man Dallas. Bars on top of bars. Now let's get to that fire-ass intro and let's get up out of here. I'll be right back with Fight Night Friday. Oh, wait a second. Legendary Yobi, $2 super chat. The fact that it didn't come from Syra is diabolical.
What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox. Spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling. Moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what